You ever been around friends and family and they start talking about something new or exciting or interesting in their life that they're doing, and they start going around the room and asking everybody, hey, what's going on in your life? What are you doing next in your life that's exciting? And then they get around to you and they ask you, hey, what are you doing next? What's exciting? What's interesting? What are you getting into? And you give them this look like, I don't know, nothing. I don't have anything right now. When you think about it, that's really not a good feeling. I know firsthand it's not a good feeling, and it's kind of embarrassing, especially if you're over 50, because when you're over 50, you kind of supposed to know what you want to do in your life. You kind of supposed to know and kind of have things figured out. So when you don't, you feel like it's really not a good look. It's actually completely normal for you not to know what you want to do next in your life, especially when you don't know your purpose. But of course, it's better, you have a better life if you do know what you want to do next and if you have a plan for your life. And there's something you can do starting today that can help you solve the mystery of what you want to do next in your life. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that you're you're going to more funerals than you're going to weddings and graduations. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that your kids are now finishing college. One day you're going to wake up and realize your kids are getting married. One day you're going to wake up and realize you're the only person in the house. There's nobody else you need to take care of. There's nobody else you need to feed. There's nobody else you need to clothe. It's just you now. And that's when it hits you that you're on the other side of 50 and you're getting old or you're getting older. And time is something that's not on your side. And you can't afford to be stuck in your life anymore. You don't have 10, 15, 20 years to try to figure out what you want to do next in your life. You don't have that much time to try to figure out what your purpose is. You have to figure this out soon. And it's costing you. It's costing you emotionally because you're feeling a certain level of anxiety and confusion and frustration. And it's costing you in some ways financially because if you knew what you wanted to do, you would already be doing it and you could be earning a lot of money doing something that you already enjoy doing. And it's also costing you on some level your family. It's costing, not costing you your family, but it's having an effect on your children on some level because they might see you as being stuck. They might be concerned about you not in their eyes or your eyes moving forward in your life. It might seem that you're at a standstill or that you're lost and they're concerned about you. Your spouse, your significant other may be feeling the same way about you. The bottom line is you can't afford to stay in this position. You can't afford to stay stuck. It's costing you too much. In 2010, I accepted a couple of truths about myself. I accepted that I was unhappy. I accepted that I was confused, that I was frustrated, that I was lost, that I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I didn't have a path anymore. And the path that I had been on, I was tired of that. I wanted to get off the hamster wheel. I wanted to get out of the just going through the motions every day. I had been doing that for nearly 30 years. And it just became too much for me. I wanted something different. I didn't know exactly what I wanted different, but I knew I wanted to change. I had to have a change. So in that year, I made some really life changing decisions and choices. One was I decided to get a divorce because the relationship, the marriage that I was in was not fulfilling. Um, it wasn't toxic, but it just wasn't, there was no future there. So it was just best that we parted ways and I made the decision. And it was one of the most difficult, matter of fact, it was the most difficult decision that I have ever made in my life. And it was so difficult because I was I was making a decision to leave my children, leave the house that we all were living in. And that was very difficult. And then from a financial standpoint, to be able to support them the way I wanted to support them, I needed to file bankruptcy. And I did that as well. So in that short span of time, I made two life-changing decisions that ultimately brought me out on the other side much, much, much better. Taking that, getting out of that marriage and relieving myself financially would allow me to clear my mind and to think for the first time in my life about what I wanted. Just me, not anybody else, just what I want for myself. If you want help figuring out what you want to do next in your life, if you want help finding your purpose, if you are tired of feeling stuck in your life or feeling lost in your life, I'll leave a link in the description below and you can set up a one-on-one call with me. And what I want you to really take from this is that even right now, you may not see a light at the end of the tunnel, but there is a light. And all you need to do is just keep walking towards the light. No one likes change. No one likes to move from where they are because where they are is typically a comfortable place. And even if it's not really comfortable, change requires us to walk into the unknown. As I said before, it's actually normal for you to feel lost or for you to not know what you want to do next in your life because as human beings, we're always growing, we're always evolving, we're always adapting. So in that process of evolving and changing, you're always going to see things from a different perspective. You're always going to have more knowledge and more information in which invites you to change. So you may have had a plan when you were in your 20s and 30s and 40s, but your mindset is different in your 40s and 50s than it was in your 20s. So of course, you're open to different opportunities. You see things with more wisdom and more experience now. So you're always coming to a new crossroads in your life. And that's okay. That's just what I call an opportunity to pivot. It's a pivot point. And that's where you are now. You're at a point where you can pivot into something that's for the first time in your life. It's something that you actually want to do for yourself. For the first time in your life, you have an opportunity to choose something that's of your own design. It's something that your soul actually wants to do. Something that you may have been wanting to do your entire life. This is an opportunity. This is a pivot point. And now that you're at that pivot point, I want you to think about two things. And it's going to go against what you've always been led to believe and what you've been taught. You need to stop trying to find your purpose. Stop trying to find your purpose. That's one. The other thing is you need to stop following your passion. You always hear people say your passion will lead you to your purpose. That's possible. That's a way. But that's one of the things that have you stuck because all these people out here, all these professionals, these gurus are telling you the same cookie cutter stuff. Follow your passion. Your passion will lead you to your purpose. Well, what if you have more than one passion? What if you're like me and you love and enjoy doing multiple things? That advice is not going to work for you. And I want you to stop trying to find your purpose because purpose is not something that you find. Because if you knew what you were looking for, if you knew what your purpose was, then you would have found it already. When you're looking for something, you at least have an idea of what you're looking for. You can't find something when you essentially don't know what you're looking for. If you don't know what your purpose is, then what are you actually looking for? If your purpose were to show up, how would you know that was actually your purpose? Because you don't know your purpose. Think of it this way. If you lose your keys, you at least know you're looking for your keys. So when you find your keys, you know you have what you're looking for. You don't know what your purpose is. So how would you know if you found it? You won't know. So stop trying to find it. And instead, I want you to take the approach of creating your purpose. Create something in your life that gives you a life of purpose. Instead of trying to find something, take control of your life and create a purpose for your life. And also stop trying to follow your passion. You hear that all the time. Follow your passion, follow your passion. That's fine because that is a way. But I want to give you an alternative. something that I discovered on my journey to find my purpose. And I actually wrote a book about this several years ago, back in 2020, because the thing that I found on my journey to finding purpose was disappointing. It was frustrating. It was confusing because what everybody was telling me to do to find my purpose didn't work for me. It made no sense. I spent years struggling to find my purpose using a map, using directions, using instructions that were outdated, that just made no sense. And I lost a lot of years behind that. And I don't want you to have to go through the same thing. So instead of following your passion to find your purpose, why don't you follow your frustration? Why don't you do something that annoys you? Why don't you look at something that makes you angry, something that ticks you off, something that frustrates you? Why can't that lead you to a purpose in your life? I'll give you an example. Donald Fisher in 1969 was tired of going into look for a pair of jeans and not being able to find jeans that fit him. That became a real thing for him. That became a real struggle. So in 1969, he and his wife decided to start a clothing store called The Gap. And you know, The Gap right now is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's an international company with multiple brands behind it. But it all came from, or was birthed from, a man who was frustrated because he could not find jeans that fit him. It wasn't about him wanting to create jeans, or he didn't have a passion for creating a clothing store. That brand was created because he was frustrated. Which shows you that you could take your frustrations and you can create something wonderful, something incredible, something life-changing based on what you're frustrated about, instead of following your passion, which is people have been saying for the last, since I can remember. That might work for you. It didn't work for me. And if it's not working for you, instead of following your passion, follow your frustration. And there are plenty of things out in the world that frustrate you. I know you could probably sit down and think of 2 or 3 things that when you hear about them, when you see them, when somebody talks about them, it just annoys you. It just gets under your skin. That's a frustration. That's a problem. And life is all about, or purpose is all about, solving problems for yourself and solving problems for other people. So you would find purpose in just finding something or observing something that's already there in the world that's annoying to you. You can find, or you can create a purpose around that, solving that problem. And it might be something that annoys you about yourself. It might be a problem that's annoying you, or something that you're struggling with, that you solve for yourself. And because you solved it for yourself, you can help other people solve the same issue. There's a purpose built around that. Instead of you trying to find a purpose, this way you're creating a purpose. And if you're not living, or you're not doing something that excites you, that energizes you, that just gives you a reason to look forward to the next day, then are you really living? Is this what you really want to continue to do with your life? Just kind of going through the motions, just okay with okay? Or do you want something more? And I know you want something more. And you're in a position now where you can pivot. It's a pivot point where you can actually pursue that thing or those things that you actually have always wanted. Now is the time. And to figure out what you want to do in life, there are 2 things that we talked about earlier. One is stop trying to find your purpose. Do something to create a purpose for your life. And also stop following your passion. Follow your frustration. And if you're tired of being stuck in your life, tired of not knowing what to do next, tired of being confused, click on the link in the description below and check out this next video.